So, Jacob spent 14 years with his uncle, working for his two wives, and his uncle pleaded with him to stay so longer to help continue to enrich him, and Jacob contracted for a certain payment for his work, and Laban tried to trick him by changing the payment terms over and over again, and God protected Jacob. Jacob became very wealthy, male and female servants and all different kinds of livestock. And his uncle and his cousins became envious of him and were turning against him. And God said to him, "You spent enough time here, go home." And he presented all of his history to his wives in the flocks where there were no spies. And Rachel and Leah said to him, I'm reiterating this because I think it's really important, verses 14, 15, 16, and in the middle of the page. Have we then still a share and inheritance at our father's house? In other words, God told me to go home. If I'm going home, I hope that you'll come along. You know, you're my wives, we have children together, and so forth and so on. But I'm asking you to leave your father, to leave your homeland. That's not a simple thing. So I'm not demanding it of you. I'm not ordering you to do it. I'm simply telling you that's where I stand. So they say, we're happy to come because we feel that we've been sold out by our father. Why is that? What is it that makes them sold out? Are we not considered by him as strangers? For he has sold us and even totally consumed our money. Now we said, Jacob did give payment for the right to marry them. But their statement here makes it clear that that was abnormal. In our little minuscule subculture, a father does not sell his daughters, doesn't do that. And since our father sold us, he has not treated us as daughters. He's treated us as strangers. And then they go on to make a specific economic remark. He has sold us and even totally consumed our money. The fact that the husband pays for the right to marry is not unacceptable. The only question is, to whom does the money go? In the previous generation, when a marriage was contracted for Isaac, to Laban's sister, at that time, the servant brought considerable wealth with him to justify the marriage, but the money went to Rebekah. It went to the woman, not to the father of the woman, not to the family of the woman. It went to Rebekah. So they say, if our father had charged for the right to marry us, and put the money in escrow, and left it for us, and given it to us, that would have been reasonable. But no, he charged and he ate it up. He used the money for himself. That's absolutely unacceptable. So he has treated us as strangers, and therefore we have no share in his house. We don't feel like he's our father. We don't have any share in his family. So if you are poisoned by the stereotype of the ancient Near East, and you think that applies to our ancestors, the book is telling you that that's not true. Therefore, the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and our children. Yes, the flocks have given birth to the animals which, by the agreements as they changed one by one, belong to you, and therefore they belong to us and to our children, and that's right, that's just. And then they confirm and say, so now whatever God has told you to do, do, which is on the face of it an astonishing remark. The creator of the universe told Jacob to go home. He puts the proposition in front of his wives, doesn't say yes or no. And they say, yes, we're confirming it. Go ahead and do what God told you to do. I mean, is it up to them to confirm it? Apparently, it's up to them to say whether they're going to participate or not. Now, you want an example of respect for women, in particular for a wife. I don't think you can find a more exquisite example than this. Yeah.
Why did it go to the money go to Rebecca over the father? Doesn't the father, in a way, have rights over until she gets married? So, may not be able to sell it, but why doesn't the money go to him?
There's a question of what you use to contract, and there's a question of giving gifts. You don't have to give all the money only to the father. They gave him something, kiwis and papayas, but the the gold and the fine garments went to Rebekah. All the valuable stuff went to Rebekah. At any rate, that's where we're up to now. So now, 17, Jacob arose, lifted his children and his wives on the camels. He led all his livestock as well, which he had amassed. His purchased property, which he had amassed at Padan-aram, to go to his father Isaac, the land of Canaan. He's running. He's running. Now, the previous text told us that Lavan, in order to make sure that there would be no mixture of the flocks, in order to make sure that none of his livestock would end up in Jacob's supposed wages, put a 3 days journey between them. So Jacob is running now. It's going to take 3 days for word to get to Lavan that Jacob has fled. And then if Lavan's going to pursue him, he's got a 3 days deficit. So that's exactly what happens. Lavan had gone to shear his sheep. Rachel stole the teraphim, which are household gods, that belonged to her father. His father was an idol worshiper. And she took these idols, which apparently were small items, with her. Why she did that and how it's going to work out will be a very interesting story. Jacob deceived Lavan the Aramean by not telling him that he was fleeing. Of course, you feel that your uncle and your cousins are against you. You feel that they think you've stolen from them. They're going to hold you as a criminal. If you're going to run away, of course you're not going to tell them. Stealing his heart just means he deceived him. And in Hebrew, as in English, to say that you deceived someone doesn't always mean that what you've done is wrong. There are times when it's appropriate to deceive someone. And here, if you're running to protect what is by right yours, and you're running to protect yourself from danger, it's perfectly justifiable to deceive a person. I don't know how many of you have had the misfortune to study Immanuel Kant, but among Immanuel Kant's many mistakes, one of them is you must always tell the truth no matter what. So, Peter is chasing Paul to kill him. Paul's got a 2-minute head start. He bangs on your front door. When you open the front door, he runs and closes himself in your closet and says, when Peter comes by, tell him I'm not here. 30 seconds later, Peter comes by and knocks on the door. Where's Paul? You say, oh, where's Paul? Let's see, what did Kant say? Kant said, always tell the truth, no matter what. Peter, Paul's in the closet. Thanks a lot. Bang, through the door of the closet, and Paul is dead. Is that the right outcome? Probably not. Probably not. Probably what you ought to tell Peter is, he ran around the corner, if you run quickly, you'll catch him, and then close and bolt the door and call the police. Not always is wrong to deceive people. Depends on what their intentions are. So here it says that Jacob deceived his father-in-law because he ran without telling him, because he had no choice. Next page. Thus he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river, set a direction toward Mount Gilead. It was told to Lavan on the 3rd day that Jacob had fled. There was a 3-day distance between them, so 3 days later, he got the report. So he took his kinsman with him and pursued him a distance of 7 days, catching up with him at Mount Gilead. In other words, according to the plain meaning in the verses, Lavan was traveling twice as fast as Jacob. He had a 3-day head start, and he kept going another 3 days, and Lavan covered all of that time, all of that period in a 7 days distance. Now he took along a posse. He's a man who's been living in that area for generations. He has a large extended family. He took them all along with him to have a confrontation. Lavan overtook Jacob. Jacob had pitched his tent on the mountain. Lavan stationed his men on Mount Gilead. Now, here comes the dialogue and the confrontation. Lavan said to Jacob, "What have you done that you have deceived me and led my daughters away like captives of the sword? You ran and you took my daughters with you as if they were booty, slaves, captured in war." Now you tell me, boys and girls, is that a correct description of what happened? No. Didn't we just see the exquisite concern and respect that Jacob had for his wives? And by the way, Notice that Lavan calls them his daughters. The fact that they're Jacob's wives makes no difference. It makes it sound like Jacob took a mounted party, an armed party, and snuck into Lavan's house and stole his daughters and ran away with them as captives. He didn't even tell them they have to go. He put it in front of them that they can stay if they want. But this is Lavan's mental set. That's the world he lives in. Those are the scenarios that he's familiar with. How do you treat women? You push them around, put them in boxes, do with them as you please. And that's what he projects onto Jacob. Nothing could be further from the truth than that. Why have you fled so stealthily, means sneaky, and cheated me? Nor did you tell me. I would have sent you off with gladness, with songs, with timbrel, it's a kind of instrument, with lyre, another instrument. You did not even allow me to kiss my sons and daughters. Now you have acted foolishly. Okay, here's a man who's telling us the wives are his daughters, the children are his grandchildren, and he loves them. And go home? Sure, you want to go home to your father? By all means, I would have had no objections. I would have sent you off with a celebration. Now watch. It is in my power to do you all harm. What? You all? Who's you all? Well, you all is his daughters and his grandchildren. It's in my power to do you all harm. His own daughters and grandchildren. I can do all of you harm. So what happened? A moment ago you were bursting with love and joyousness and gladness and identification. You wanted to kiss them. And now it's in my power to do you all harm? The man is not, not totally connected. Why am I not doing you harm? Not only my power, but it's my will to do so. But the God of your father addressed me last night. Your God, whom I recognize as a real God, came to me in a dream and said, beware of speaking with Jacob, either good or bad. So there are supernatural powers here, and I'm restricted. I would really like to do all of you harm, but I'm stuck. Now, you have left because you long gravely with your father's house. All right, I understand why you went home. Why did you steal my gods? My teraphim are missing. You must have stolen them. So, there are really two attacks here, two claims. One is, you cheated me by running without telling me, and you stole my gods. And Jacob answers each one in turn. Why did I not tell you I was leaving? Because I was afraid, for I thought perhaps you might steal your daughters from me. And I had good reason to think that. I had good reason to think that. And that will be confirmed in the ensuing dialogue. And as far as what you say about stealing your gods, with whomever you find your gods, he shall not live. I steal your gods? Any one of us steal your gods? Such a thing is impossible. Impossible. If you find your gods with any of us, that person will die. Search! Search me as much as you like. Everyone. Wives, children, grandchildren, the servants, the animals. Search wherever you like. Whoever you find it with will die. Just 1 second. In the presence of our kinsmen, ascertain for yourself what is with me and take it back. Do it in public. You brought all your family with you, your clan with you. Make a public search, let them watch the search, and see if you discover anything of yours that's with me. Yeah.
So why does Jacob in his response say whomever, and then says he shall die? So he first keeps it vague as it could be man or women, but then he specifies it to...
No, I think that's just the English.
Oh.
I don't think there is in Hebrew. There's no he in the Hebrew.
Oh.
There's no pronoun in the Hebrew. And it's good that you ask, because the English is written for the average English reader. It's got to read smoothly and flowingly, and so often enough there are words there that aren't in the Hebrew. And now the text adds, Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen it. if he had known that, he never would have said such a thing. Yeah.
I'm just interested, if Laban knew that Hashem was the real God, why does he worship Allah?
You put in a different particle from mine. I said that he recognizes that Hashem is a real God. You put in the real God. There's a gigantic difference. Polytheism in the ancient world was based on mutual tolerance. Polytheism was Los Angeles. You do what's good for you, and I'll do what's good for me. The fact that I worship Baal doesn't mean that I criticize your worshiping Ashtart or an Assyrian deity or an Egyptian deity. You have your religion. I have mine. All the religions are true. Each one believes all the other ones are true. If you're an Egyptian and you go to Babylonia, you'll offer sacrifice to Babylonian gods because you're in their sphere of influence, and vice versa. The only religion in the ancient world that was, actually I say, with one vision of the reality and all the other visions of reality are false, is Judaism. We must be very careful not to project what we take for granted in our mental picture on the past. In the past, things were very different. This is one of the things that's very different. One historian charts 1,000 years of ancient history with no religious wars because there was nothing to fight over. Why would I fight you because of your religion? And why would you fight me because of my religion? It was just a non-issue because everybody accepted everybody else's religion as true. Not just you have an option to do something stupid if you like. No, I recognize your gods are real and you recognize my gods are real. Yeah.
Jacob was a prophet. How come he didn't know that Rachel stole Laban's gods, and why would he make such a statement, such as like whoever's like stead you find it in, you shall kill that person? I mean, that's taking a big gamble, like, you know.
Well, okay, first of all, and this is very, very important to know, the fact that a person is a prophet does not mean that he is omniscient. We hold only God is omniscient. So the fact that a prophet doesn't know something, we take it for granted. Every prophet, there's an infinity of things he doesn't know. The fact that he doesn't know some particular thing is taken for granted. That, for us, that's obvious and assumed. Now, why he makes this statement, as a matter of fact, this statement is rash, I don't know. I don't know what was going on in his mind. I mean, you are absolutely positive that something is so, and someone accuses you of a crime that you haven't committed, so you know what the outcome of the search is going to be, and indeed, the outcome of the search is exactly what he expects. The gods are not found, as you'll see. So he ends up being right about that. To state with certainty that I know that I have not committed the crime, that I'm innocent, is a way to responding to a publicly leveled charge at you.
Like there's a person in Nach, I forgot his name, but they came back from the war.
Yiftach.
Yeah. And he said, whoever comes out of my house, God can. I'll offer that thing up to Hashem because we won, and his daughter came out. So I mean, isn't that a little presumptuous to say?
Let's say it's presumptuous. We hold no brief that our patriarchs were perfect, and you told me that this was something that was inadvisable for him to do. That would be a fine thing to say. No, nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
I was going to say, because theft in Torah, the punishment isn't death.
Say again? Oh, for theft?
Yeah.
No, we're talking about pre-Torah. We're talking about the mitzvahs of Bnei Noach, and it's a long, complicated thing. Yeah.
But even if we were talking actual Torah, idol worship is something that does deserve death for. So if anyone did take the idols with the assumption that they are going to idol worship, then they would deserve to die in any case.
I don't think so. You don't kill a person for a presumption. You have to have the actual. There's someone that steals a gun with presumption that he's going to kill somebody. Just having the gun in your possession does not make you a murderer. It doesn't make you subject to a death penalty. So a person could change his mind at the last minute. And he's not guilty of idol worship. That would not be enough. But she, of course, wanted to deprive her father of them. That's all. Look, the message that she's giving to her father is this. This is similar to the Midrash about Abraham breaking his father's idols. He said, listen, you have these statues. You think these statues connect you to a power. And this power can protect the house and give you success and fertility and against disease and everything else. Well, look, I can steal them. I can pick them up and take them away. Why don't they protect themselves against me? Why don't they stop me from stealing them? What kind of powers do they have? You're hoping they'll give you success in war? I can pick them up in my pocket and deprive you of them. How can you think that they're powerful? This is the same as the Midrash. Here it's in the text. Midrash that Abraham, his father, was an idol maker, broke all the idols and put the stick in the hand of the biggest idol. My father came home and saw all the broken idols. He said, "What happened here?" He said, "Well, there was a fight, and this one beat up all the other ones and broke them." He said, "Come on, they can't fight. They can't beat each other up. They can't break each other." He says, "Well, why do you worship them? If they can't do anything, why do you worship them?" So here you have it, a similar thing right here.
I mean, this is not quite the same thing, but I mean, we have, a mezuzah is supposed to protect us too. We can pick it up and put it somewhere else. I mean, I know it's like, it's from Hashem, but it's the same. I know we're not worshiping the mezuzah, but it's kind of the same idea. If you have it, it's protecting you, but you can transfer it to a different locale.
It's a question of the nature of the protection. It's one thing to hire a protector against an assassin, and it's another thing to take antibiotics. Now, they both protect you from various things, but they do it in very, very different ways. You better pay the protector against the assassin. You have to pay the pills. I mean, the fact that they're doing a similar job doesn't mean they're doing it in a similar way. It's not the mezuzah that protects you, it's God that protects you. Okay, so now comes the search, the grand search. 33. Laban came to Jacob's tent, to Leah's tent, the tent of the two maidservants. He found nothing. He left Leah's tent, he came to Rachel's tent. Well, he did it twice, whatever it is. Rachel had taken the truffin, put them into the camel's pack saddle, and sat on them. Laban rummaged through the whole tent, found nothing. She said to her father, "Let not my Lord find it annoying, Lord with a little L, find it annoying that I cannot rise up before you. For the way of women is upon me." She's pregnant, and she is in fact very pregnant, and he could see that. That's. Thus he searched and did not find the truffin. Now, it's not very easy to understand. You know very well that pregnant women can get up and walk. Let's say she's suffering cramps or something. Move her. What's the big deal here? So I think one of the commentators says, sure, could move her and so forth and so on. But Laban can't imagine that she would sit on the idols. Sit on them? No one could do that. No one could do that. How could you take a chance? I mean, these things have powers, right? So it can't be where she's sitting. It can't be. That's why he doesn't object. So his own belief, irrational belief in the power of these items, is what stops him from finding them where they're hidden. And she, knowing her father, knows this. That's why she manages to protect herself. Thus he searched and did not find the teraphim. Now, Jacob before, when he was accused, all he said was, I ran because I was afraid you would take your daughters away from me. And I didn't steal them. If you find them, whoever you find by will die. That was the minimal response that he gave, just to set up the stage where the search will take place, and his innocence in terms of the claim of stealing the trophy will be established. Now it's established, and now Jacob lets go. Now he lets go. Now 20 years of frustration and suffering, being cheated over and over again, all of it comes out. Yeah.
You said Rachel was pregnant at this time?
Yeah.
So why does she say that her period is part of the way of
The
women?
way of women, she's pregnant. It's not usually men who get pregnant, only women who get pregnant, right? The way of women.
That she means that she's pregnant or she has a period?
No, she's pregnant. She's heavy and it's hard for her to move, and sometimes they have cramps and sometimes they bleed also. I mean, it's a complicated procedure. Anyway, then Jacob became angered. He took up his grievance with Laban. Jacob spoke up and said to Laban, this is poetry in the Hebrew, introducing a speech, introducing a major speech. What is my transgression? What is my sin that you have hotly pursued me? When you rummaged through all my things, what did you find of your household objects? Set it here before my kinsman and your kinsman, and let them decide between the two of us. You accused me of being a thief? Show. You rummaged through everything. I give you permission to search everywhere. Show me what you found that you accused me of being a thief and ran after me with pursuit. These, and the Hebrew, the paragraph break in the English is not correct. As you see in the Hebrew side, it's one block of text. These 20 years I have been with you, your ewes and she-goats, that's sheep and she-goats, never miscarried, nor did I eat the rams of your flock, which I had a right to as a shepherd. That which was mangled I never brought to you. If a wild animal caught one of the animals, like a bear or a lion or whatever, caught one of the animals and ate it, which a shepherd is not expected to protect against, and he's indemnified for it, I myself would bear the loss. I didn't have to do that, and I did it anyway. From me you would exact it, whether it was stolen by day or stolen by night. I would always pay it, and I didn't protest. You demanded it of me, and I did it. This is how it was. By day, scorching heat consumed me. By frost by night, my sleep drifted from my eyes. This is 20 years in your household. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wage 100 times. Now here, Yaakov is accusing Lavan of this in public, in front of Lavan and all of his clan. You changed my wage 100 times, and Lavan will not deny it. So we know it's true. Had not the God of my father, the God of Abraham and the dread of Isaac, been with me, you would surely have now sent me away empty-handed. Just as you cheated me in that first marriage and gave me Leah instead of Rachel. And then afterwards cheated me when I was working for wages and changed my wages 100 times. You've cheated me in every chance that you got, took advantage of me in any way that you could possibly have done so, and if I had wanted to leave, you would have taken your daughters from me and sent me away with nothing. That's why I ran. That's why I ran without telling you. God saw my wretchedness and the toil of my hands, so he admonished you last night. And the proof of it is that my God came to you last night and told you, leave me alone. Leave me alone. This is Jacob's speech. Now confirm his speech. Look at how Lavan answers. Look at how Lavan answers. Then Lavan spoke up and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters. The children are my children. The flock is my flock. All that you see is mine. Did Jacob read him correctly? Did Jacob understand his intentions correctly? What is his attitude? Everything you have is mine. I cheated you, and I changed your wage over and over again, and I cheated you with the wife that I gave you. And I took from you that which the law you're indemnified to. I took that from you also, and it's all mine. It all belongs to me anyway. Yet to my daughters, what could I do to them to this day, or to the children whom they have borne? You expect me? You're afraid of me? How could I do anything bad to them? How could he do anything bad to them? Turn back to the previous page and look at verse 29 when he's speaking a couple of hours ago. And he says, it is in my power to do you all harm. He said I was going to do you harm. It was my power, and only the fact that your God appeared to me last night in a dream stopped me from doing it. And now he says, oh, they're my children and my grandchildren. Would I do any harm to my family? Right. He doesn't remember what he said 2 hours ago, or he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just says whatever at the moment is going to get him the most points at the moment. So now, come, let us make a covenant, I and you, and he shall be a witness between me and you. And the translator puts a capital H. There are commentaries that say here he's speaking of the Jewish God. As I said, he recognizes the Jewish God as a real God, but there are other gods as well. So he now, without apologizing, doesn't apologize at all. It's all mine. But let's make a covenant. So you get an idea of what Yaakov was living with for 20 years. This is the person he was living with for 20 years. Okay. Jacob took up a stone and raised it as a monument, a marker. Jacob said to his brethren, gathering stones, they made stones, they made a mound, and they ate there on the mound. Had a meal. Lavan called it Yagar Sahadusa. That's Aramaic, which indicates that even at that time, the time of the patriarchs, there were people whose natural language was Aramaic. Jacob called it Gal'ait, which is the same meaning in Hebrew, a stone of witness, or a mound of stones of witness. Yagar Sahadusa is the same phrase in Aramaic. Lavan declared, this mound is a witness between you and me today. Me and you today. Me and you, not you and me. Sorry, he would never say that. Between me and you, I come first. Therefore, he called its name Gal'ait. And as for mitzvah, mitzvah means a place where you can see over. It's like an outlook. May Hashem keep watch between me and you when we're out of each other's sight. Now watch. This is Lavan speaking as his part of setting the terms of the covenant. If you will ill-treat my daughters, here's the father concerned for his daughters. Isn't that nice? Isn't that appropriate? father concerned for the well-being of his daughters. If you'll ill-treat my daughters, did Jacob do anything at any point in the entire story to ill-treat them in any possible way? But he's got to come across as protecting his daughter's welfare against Jacob, who knows what he'll do. It's more fantasy land. Or you'll marry wives in addition to my daughters. If you marry more wives, if you raise up a harem, so then my daughters get less share of their attention. How did it work? Jacob wanted only Rachel. Lavan engineered that Leah should be put in, so he ended up with two. That was Lavan's engineering. The two maid servants were taken to wife because the wives asked him to do that. It's not part of our policy to have polygamy. Polygamy is only a last resort. It's permissible, but it's a last resort. Lavan comes across here as the protector. Oh, you're a rich man. Who knows how many wives you'll purchase and bring into your harem? No, I want to protect my daughters, to protect my daughter's honor. You shouldn't marry anymore. I mean, maybe he can make a public show for his clan, but in terms of the reality, there's no connection to Jacob at all. Though no man be among us, but see, God is witness between me and you. And Lavan said to Jacob, here's just one last unbelievable fantasy land. Here is the mound and here is the monument which I have cast between me and you. Notice the me first. You know, we're trained in English not to talk that way. Put the other guy first. He never does that. It's always me and you. Who set up the mound? And who set up the single pillar? Jacob and his brethren. Lavan says, I did it. It was a couple of hours ago. Ribono shel olam. You know, we're all awake. True, there aren't videos from CNN, but still, nobody forgot that. No, I did it. I did it. This mound should be a witness. The mound should be a witness that I am going to cross over this mound. Let me cross over. And this mound for evil, it's a boundary line. And the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor judge between us, the God of their father. Now, notice what your translator did here, quite correctly. 53, the God of Abraham, capital G. God of Nahor, little g. Nahor is a previous generation. He worshipped idols. Lavan here is appealing to both sides. Yes, you worship a God. I want him to be party to this agreement. There are gods from my side also, and I want that God to be part of the agreement. And he brings them both in. The God of their father. And Jacob swore by the dread of his father Isaac. Jacob swore by his own father, his own God, not the God of the other side. And that's how they make their covenant. That's the end of the story with Lavan. So you understand now why Lavan is regarded as one of the arch criminals in this text. And when Lavan said to Jacob, we don't give the younger before the elder like you did, that does not amount to a critique of Jacob from the author of the text. It amounts to the words that the author of the text, author capital A, talking about God, put into the mouth of one of his villains. A message that comes from a villain in the text is not the message from the author of the text. If anything, it's the opposite. Okay? Are we together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why stones? What's the significance of stones being a witness? How can stones be a witness?
I think I can, it's fair to say, they're not a witness. It's the act of having set it up that's a witness. It's a public act. People stroll through the neighborhood. They go on a caravan. You know, this is the stone that Jacob set up and Lavan set up, and so they made. So it becomes a reminder of that issue. Now, what are you going to choose? A tree? Trees die and they disintegrate. You know,
Yeah.
and if you set up a pillar, it's going to sit there. I remember I was here with my wife in 1967, right after the war, Six-Day War. We had bought tickets a year before, so nobody knew. And a week after the war, we were here, and we went to the Kaisel, to the wall. They hadn't yet knocked down all the houses. It was a very small area. Going through narrow passageways, come out, and you see the wall. And I remember thinking, a wall is a pile of stones. If nobody knocks it down, it'll sit there. But there are still Jews praying there after 1900 years. That's what's amazing. What's amazing is not the stones. What's amazing is that the people are still there. But the stones become a monument. They become a testimony because everybody knows who built it. Everybody knows what it stood for, and that I think is what's going on. Yeah.
With this boundary line that they made, does that mean Lavan owns some of the land?
No, this has nothing to do with ownership. It's like a midpoint, and the idea is if you come in this direction, you cross over this midpoint, probably coming in my direction. I want part of the agreement to be that if you do that, you do it with good intentions, not with bad intentions.